You guys, this is awkward because I read the Andromeda Strain. I liked it, or I thought I liked it, and I recorded a book review like last week. And then when I was editing it, I realized I don't think I liked the Andromeda Strain. So I'm gonna sort of redo the review a little bit here, and then I'm gonna smash both of them together. So in this video, you'll see both. It's sort of weird. I think I liked the idea of the Andromeda Strain more than I liked the actual book. Um, it was a cool idea. I don't think it was really well executed. I think I was just excited to dive into something new. I've been reading through The Way of Kings really slowly lately. I've been reading another book that's honestly been kind of boring and it's been dragging on. And so I just like the idea of it. As I mentioned in my other video that's coming up after this, I read the Andromeda Strain as part of the Michael Crichton reread thing that Mike's Book Reviews is doing on his channel. And so I was just excited to be like a part of something new, I think. And then, in retrospect, thinking about the book, I was like, it only had a few redeeming qualities. I kind of didn't like it all that much. So anyway, let me just really briefly go over what I did like. Like I said, I like the idea. I like the premise. It's about a germ from outer space or some sort of microorganism or some sort of bacteria thing that kills people very, very quickly. That's a cool idea. I liked it. It was almost like an apocalyptic thing, but not really to that point. Like it could have become an apocalyptic story. And so that was cool. I liked a couple of the characters. Not a lot of the scientist guys really clicked for me. I didn't feel like there was a main character. I didn't feel like I really related to them much. Oddly, I actually kind of liked the side character, the military general guy, Manchek, I think his last name was. I don't know, something about him was just sort of entertaining to read about. Believe it or not, I did like some of the scientific aspects of it, the actual research of it. It was dull, it was dry, a little bit boring, but like I kind of liked it. I'm a math teacher, and so I don't know. It was interesting to try to read this like these analytics of the different chemical compounds and the different readouts of these medical tests and stuff, and try to like figure out what was even going on. I don't know anything about that world, about organic chemistry or biology or medical or the medical field. And so I was trying to sort of piece together, and I don't know if that was the intent. If you're looking at these things, if someone who is well versed in those types of things, in those sciences, would have been able to sort of unravel the mystery or not. I definitely was not able to, but it was kind of fun to try. I liked, of course, the intense ending, or I should say, the intense part right before the ending. I did think the ending was pretty anticlimactic, and in the video that I'm gonna tag on to this video, you'll see my suggestion. Spoilers for that. You'll see my suggestion on how I would have rewritten the ending to make it a little bit more intense, to make it a little bit more apocalyptic. But that's kind of all I liked about the book. But that was enough for me. I think overall, I still would say it wasn't great, but it was the kind of thing that I'm glad I read it. It's kind of like the Chronicles of Narnia. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm glad I read them. Everybody should probably, well, maybe not everybody, but people should, read it at least once. The Andromeda Strain is worth a read. Definitely not my favorite book. Probably won't ever read it again, but I'm glad that I read it. A few of my complaints, and I touch on these in the other video. The background story, the backstory of the Wildfire Project, I just thought it was very implausible. I didn't feel like it was realistic at all. I just feel like mostly my biggest complaints about the book are the missed opportunities. I really would have loved to see them explore the small town in Arizona, Piedmont. I really would have loved to see them just explore that town a little bit more. Maybe see a little bit more background of the citizens. I don't know, just explore the human aspect of that community a little bit more. I feel like, there was this old man and he had family outside of the town, but they're just briefly mentioned, and it's like, why didn't they ever talk to his family? Some other missed opportunities were, honestly, maybe I'm just morbid. More people should have died. More people should have died. This thing is crazy contagious, crazy deadly, and only like less than 100 people die in the whole story, in the whole book. So I don't know. I just feel like there's missed opportunities there. I think that's about it. I think that's all the things I wanted to say, other than the stuff I already said in the other video that you'll see coming up. And other than that, I'm just excited to read The Terminal Man. I'm excited to continue this sort of journey with Mike's book reviews. And you should definitely go give his channel a look if you haven't done that already. Thanks, guys, and enjoy my other review, I guess, even though it's really kind of horrible. The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton. Quick, a little background. I read this book because, first of all, Mike's Book Reviews, which is a fantastic channel. You should totally check it out. I'll put a card above me somewhere. You can click on that and check out his channel. Great channel. He introduced just this month, February, the Michael Crichton read along, or he calls it a reread. I call it a read along because I've never read Michael Crichton's books before. So I decided to jump on that bandwagon. And the first book on the list is The Andromeda Strain. I really don't know how to do book reviews. I've tried before and they came out awful. When I tried to have a script, it just felt really disingenuine. What's the word? I don't know. It felt really stilted. So today I'm just gonna like ramble and I'll try to fix it in editing later. I'll cobble something together from these incoherent thoughts of mine. So you should definitely go and watch Mike's review of the Andromeda Strain. He's way better at doing book reviews than I am, and enjoy. So I read the Andromeda Strain this month, and I enjoyed it. Let me just preface this review by saying I did enjoy it. It was not bad, but I am definitely not as enthusiastic about it as Mike is. It was pretty dry, pretty boring in quite a few spots in the narrative. I was thinking about this percentage wise. I'd say the first maybe 15% was pretty cool, and then the next 80% was dry and boring, and then the next 4% were great, and the last 1% was disappointing. I didn't like the ending. I know what I'm saying right now makes it sound like this was not a good book, that I didn't like this book, but I actually really did. It's a cool premise. So if you don't know it, the whole idea is that this satellite that's been orbiting the Earth for a little while, it somehow its orbit destabilizes, it falls out of orbit, and then it crash lands into the desert in Arizona, near a small town. Then some people from that town, they see it fall, they go and grab it, they bring it back to the town, they open it, kills the whole town. So there's some sort of bacteria, some sort of virus thing, some sort of germ, microorganism, something that was attached to that satellite or inside the satellite, and it killed everybody. So then this team of scientists is assembled, and they have to figure out what this is before it spreads. So a few big things that I just didn't like, that flat out I did think were sort of bad elements, was just the unbelievability of it all. Not the whole thing about the germ from space killing people. That was cool, and it's sort of a fantasy sci-fi element. I have no problem with that at all. I can suspend my disbelief. What irritated me was the whole backstory of this team of scientists, the wildfire team, that like they just started theorizing that something like this could happen. So then the government gave them like this huge facility in the middle of the desert in Nevada to like conduct all these experiments with like the most expensive and most advanced and up to date, state of the art equipment. To me, I'm like, does that happen? Maybe I'm just way misinformed, but it seems to me like the government wouldn't just spend all this money on something that might happen on the word of some researcher guy from California. I don't know. I don't know. I could be totally off. I don't know. The whole idea that like when they first go into the town, it's called Piedmont, I don't know. It's a small town in Arizona. When they first go in, I just felt like a lot of what they were doing was very, like, these scientist characters are presented as very intelligent, very methodical, that they do this research, they go step by step, they don't skip any steps. But then they go into the town and they just kind of wander around, and then they find
a baby that's still alive, which is kind of a cool twist. It's not really a spoiler, it's like in the first third of the book. They find a baby that's still alive and they find an old man that's still alive. So they get him out of the town and then they just nuke the town, like without doing any other research. You would think that they would try to like seal it off. I guess it makes sense because they, the wind would spread the germ, so they couldn't risk it. But they just like they order the town to be destroyed by an atomic bomb. And I'm thinking like, why would you do that before you even know what's going on? Like what killed these people? You're just gonna blow the place up? Like I thought you were researchers. I thought you were gonna like actually investigate stuff. So anyway, that was silly to me. But other than that, I did think it was cool. It's very science heavy, especially compared to other things that I typically read. It was very science heavy, and so that was a little bit. Yeah, it was dry. It was boring, but it was cool. It was interesting. I liked Crichton's style of writing, and this is his first book, at least the first book published under his own name, I believe. So I'm looking forward to reading more by him. I thought it was fun and sort of interesting in his writing style. It kept me sort of hooked because throughout the book, it shows these scientists doing all this research and all these experiments and stuff. And it would always, a lot of chapters would end on a line like, he conducted this experiment and he discovered this. It would be 48 hours before he realized how wrong he was. And then it would like end the chapter. So like the narrator is sort of like cluing you in that like these researchers, so if you don't know a lot of the scientific process, if you're not like a researcher like I'm not, um, it'd be easy to just read these scenes and think like, okay, these guys are doing the research that they should be doing. But the narrator lets you know that yeah, they're making mistakes and things are going wrong, and they don't even realize it. So that was kind of fun. I liked that actually. Bottom line, I did like the story, but I felt like there wasn't enough story for a full book. This would have been a great novella in my mind. I would have personally, taken out a lot of the science heavy details in the middle and made it more of just like a novella. So I want to keep this spoiler free. Suffice it to say, I really didn't like the ending. I felt like the ending made it so that all the rest of the story didn't matter. Like all the research that they were doing, like all this stuff that was going on, it just felt like at the end, like, oh, I guess that, that wasn't important after all. That didn't matter. I would have liked to see, well, I can't really say it without spoilers. Um, I'm trying to think of how I could say this. I don't think I could say this without major spoilers. So, major spoiler coming up. It's like the very end of the book. So, like literally the last couple of pages. So, stop the video right now if you don't want to hear spoilers if you're going to read this book. The very, very end of the book, the germ it like gets out and it's over Los Angeles and it's coming in contact with all kinds of people and nothing happens because the organism has mutated to not hurt humans. And then that's it. Like like not like total like less than 100 people die in the book. And I would have loved to see it would have been cool if I were writing this, I would have gone in the direction where like the organism arrives to LA. It's killing tons of people right about the time that the wildfire scientists discover that if you're too acid or too alkaline, then it won't hurt you. So it would have been cool for them to try to get that information to LA as soon as possible and everywhere and just start to spread that information so that like the germ, I'm going to call it a germ. I don't know if it's a germ. I don't know. It starts killing tons of people, but then they get the information and they're able to stop it before it completely destroys the whole country. But like hundreds, if not thousands of people do die before they get to that point. I think that would have been more impactful. It would have been more intense. It would have been just a funner read, in my opinion. And then after they figure out this whole acid alkaline thing, then the germ like mutates and becomes harmless, and it's like okay, we're safe after all. But that way, the research that the scientists were doing would have actually had an impact on the narrative. I just felt like it wasn't important what they were doing, and it ended up just being like a moot point. Is that how you say that? Moot point? I don't know. Next month, we'll be reading The Terminal Man, and I do plan on reading that as well. So I look forward to doing more of these reviews in the future. I am going to try to do more book reviews, so please let me know what you think in the comments. Later.